And we see it in Oriflame like every day, how community creates confidence, opportunity, connection. It is the community, it's the support network that helps individuals take their first step into the entrepreneurship, and often alongside many other commitments.
Welcome back to Heritage and Horizon. I'm your host, Stuart Murray, and today I'm delighted to be joined by my guest, Sofia Radomska, who is the Managing Director for Oriflame UK and Ireland. Sofia brings 18 years of invaluable experience to the direct selling industry, having held leadership roles at a global, regional and local level, driving business growth and innovation. In her current role, she's been instrumental in transforming the market, implementing sustainable processes, and securing long-term sales and leadership success. Academically, she holds a master's degree in international relations, culture, politics, and transformation, and very impressively, she speaks 5 languages. She's a passionate advocate for the direct selling industry and previously served as the Vice Chair for the UK Direct Selling Association. Beyond her professional achievements, Sofia's greatest passion is about seeing others succeed, and her career is fundamentally driven by a desire to support, inspire, and celebrate people as they reach their full potential. So, Sofia, thank you very much for joining me on the podcast.
Thank you for having me today. I'm really excited for this interview.
As I just mentioned in your introduction, we now know that you've got a master's degree, and let me make sure I get this right, in international relations, culture, politics, and transformation. And amazingly, as somebody who only mainly speaks one language, you speak 5 different languages. I wondered, combining those things all together, how would you say that understanding of global culture and communication has influenced your leadership style?
Oh, I love that question a lot because I love different cultures. And as you said, I do speak different languages. And yes, definitely my academic background, but even more so, I want to say my international life experience gave me very strong appreciation for how culture can shape the communication, motivation, but even more so, trust. And when you work with different teams, and in my new role, and now I'm heading the expansion markets, I work with different cultures daily. I can clearly say that there is no one size fits all leadership style. And really, if you look into Oriflame, it translates into leading with empathy and curiosity first, really understanding what drives people in different markets. And we can really say that what motivates someone in one place can be completely different in other places. So it's really interesting. And then you mentioned my languages. They say that in order to understand people, you need to understand their culture. And the best way to understand someone's culture if you can speak their language. So for me, definitely it helps. It helps to be connected more to the people that I work with. But I think it's even more so is to understand the context of how people communicate. Not so much what they say, but how they communicate, what motivates them, what drives them, what is that they want to achieve. And I always try to create an environment where people feel comfortable contributing, because that's when you get the best ideas. That's when you get the people trust you, and they you get the high performing team, don't you?
You mentioned about with the UK, or kind of different countries having different, they responding well to different leadership styles. What would you say is the main difference from your team in the UK versus other markets? How would you say they like to be led?
They like to be led with a lot of trust. Okay, so
Okay.
I think the UK team in particular is a very strong team here. They are super confident and super good professionals. So they want to be trusted that they know their business, and I love that about them. There is no micromanagement there. They do they know that they've got me if they need anything. But because they have been hired and they know what they're doing, they love to be trusted to just get on with things, and I just love that about them.
Excellent. I think it's the word trust is key there, isn't it? Because I guess for
Definitely.
you as a leader, you need to trust that if you aren't going to micromanage, that they are going to go off and deliver your vision. And for them,
Absolutely,
exactly like you
absolutely.
say, it's two ways, isn't it? They like to have that trust to feel that they're not being micromanaged, and they you believe in them, I guess.
100%, and also because we work, Oriflame is such a international company. It's in over 60 countries. It is also quite important is to stay consistent, and it's not always easy when you manage different countries and different markets. And the importance is because to ensure that the global strategy is interpreted correctly in all the countries, in all the cultures. So I think it's also very important is to combine, to balance the global consistency with what I say local sensitivity. So give the teams a clear vision, tell them what needs to be done, but they empower them to adapt in a way that resonates best in their own cultural context.
Yeah, I really like that. I've never kind of, I guess it happens in many organisations, but I've never heard anybody phrase it in that way of kind of adapting to local sensitivities. It's a really nice way of putting
I
it.
think it's very
Di-
important because, as I said, it's so different in every culture, and you want to make them feel comfortable and empowered to do what they know best.
Does that flow through into your field team as well? The same kind of approach of they know what they ultimately you would like them to deliver, and kind of what they need to work towards.
It is. It really does. It really does. The leaders in the UK, they want to be led differently as, for example, leaders in Germany. And I see it very, very clearly in my role today when I have all these different countries. And you have to adapt as the leader because you want to give the best to them. You want to support them in the best way, but also to come across as this is what is preferred in that market, if that makes sense. So it's very interesting that it's still quite a big difference in the markets out there.
And I imagine it must keep it really interesting for you as well to not have the same thing in every market.
Do you know what? Absolutely. Very interesting and very busy, but I love it. I love every day of my work.
Yeah, great. And it really comes across, even in this first 5 minutes or so that we've been talking, it's clear you're really passionate about what you do. And I think that's really important because, again, if you don't love your job, that's not going to flow through. And particularly in this industry,
Oh,
if the leader isn't, passionate about it, how on earth are you going to convince an entire remote field sales force to be passionate as well?
100%. I so agree with you. And I don't call it as a job. It has become my lifestyle for the last 18 years. It really is who I am. And I think all the employees of Oriflame, we call ourselves either you're an Oriflamian or not, because yeah, it's about being passionate about not just product, but it's about the company, the values, but also how we work. I just love it.
So let's move on now to the main first section of the podcast, which is all about the heritage. So the heritage is all about the elements of the industry that have enabled it to survive for over 100 years. So first question, a nice simple one, but I appreciate it's probably not a simple one to answer. But what is the one thing that you think never must change within direct selling?
Definitely not an easy because I think there are quite a few things I love about industry and I would never want these things to change. But if I had to choose one, it would be a sense of community because this is truly the foundation of direct selling and it what makes our industry so distinctive and so powerful. And we see it in Oriflame like every day how community creates confidence, opportunity, connection. It is the community, it's the support network that helps individuals take their first step into the entrepreneurship and often alongside many other commitments. And it's also the community. It's this. It is a support network that provides the encouragement and mentorship that sustains over time. And in the UK, particularly, I want to say the trust is often built on personal recommendations and shared experience. This feeling of community is very very critical, and whether it's through the social selling platforms, local networks, or face-to-face interaction, the human connection remains at the core of everything we do. And if we lose that, I think we're going to lose what makes this industry so unique.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the exactly as you said there, that's that sense of community and the two most common words that I've heard through doing these interviews for
Mm.
over now 5 episodes, it has been the words human connection. And you think ultimately direct selling would not be direct selling if there wasn't that human connection. And like you say, there are digital platforms that are now obviously are evolving into the industry, but the core of it is still actually a person talking to another person about a product that they love.
100%, 100%, Stuart.
Yeah. You mentioned about building support networks and that it's a great way for people to take their first steps into entrepreneurship. What does Oriflame do in order to support your new beauty entrepreneurs to feel that sense of belonging when they first start their business with you?
In Oriflame, community is the key. Absolutely, that's something that we are so passionate about, as I said in my introduction. And for us, onboarding is very important, but even more important in those first days, in those first hours, it's about connection. And what we do, we encourage new entrepreneurs. They are typically they are introduced into an existing network through a sponsor or a mentor, which immediately gives them this sense of belonging, the sense of connection, right? We also have got the company online community, which is super vibrant, super educational, and very, very motivational. So I'm very, very pleased with what we have managed to create in terms of the online community here in the last couple of years. So I am a strong believer that if we can get people to join that from their day one, it's also quite beneficial. Not only do they have their sponsor network, their community, but also our company online community where they can see much bigger picture. And then, of course, we support this very structured onboarding program. We call it the perfect start, and that is designed to really give to give the beauty entrepreneurs a very successful start in the first couple of months. And it's designed with quite a few trainings, with quite a few very simple steps. What needs to be taken in your first days, in your first weeks, in your first months. We also added an element of incentives there. So again, to keep new beauty entrepreneurs excited in the first couple of months. We also got I would say, quite a powerful set of digital trainings, helping to upskill the new beauty entrepreneurs. And lastly, what is very important for us, it's the element of recognition. And it's, even the first steps, like first sale or the first phone call they make, we always say it's important to recognize it and make a big deal out of it. So the recognition element is also built into our The Perfect Start to really make it all seamless throughout the first couple of months. And again, to show the individual there is so much bigger picture out there.
It's really comprehensive then. It's not one thing that you're doing. It's this whole plethora of things that build up that and contribute and layer up the building of the sense of community. One the other element that I'm aware of through where we've worked together through the Direct Selling Association is your face-to-face events as well. And I know people from the DSA have attended those and said how the energy is so vibrant in the room. So I'm guessing that's a key element to really motivating your people.
Absolutely, Stuart. Absolutely. This is something that you can see my smile when I talk about the offline events. When we can get people there, because we do them every quarter, so sometimes they might need to wait a couple of months. But if you can get someone into the room full of direct sellers, people who love what we do, you don't need to sell anymore. You are in love with what you do immediately, because the power of these events is just, you can't translate it into digital world.
Following on from that, what we talked about a little bit earlier on around the differences between different markets. Do you see that at all in terms of events in other markets? Do they have that same expression of excitement, or are some markets a little bit more reserved in how they like those events to be?
Very much so, very much so. The difference is quite big, I want to say.
Okay.
Quite few events in other markets, they are more traditional, if you know what I mean. And they are very business style. And that's not bad. That's what is preferred, and this is what runs best in those markets. But if I look into the UK, it's the pure party from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m., however these events are. I feel we always try to make them fun. We always try to make them, it's about a lot of about recognition. Don't get me wrong, we still do a lot of training and the serious stuff, but even the serious, if there's a big launches, business launches, they are done in a way to make it very relevant and relating to the people in the audience. So it is a good fun. It is a good fun. Please join us. We actually, our next one is in 4 days. So if you have an opportunity, you're very welcome.
Oh, lovely. Thank you. Very kind of you. You mentioned as well in some of the digital tools that you use as well to help build and onboard people. How would you say that Oriflame strikes that balance between providing digital tools and keeping up with, the development in technology, I guess, and not losing that human connection?
Mm. I think digital tools are super powerful. I think everybody would agree nowadays,
Mhm.
it's so important that they are enhancing the business and not replacing any element as such.
Mhm.
So, for example, we encourage our beauty entrepreneurs we teach quite a lot of digital tools all the time
Yeah.
because it's just a must in today's world. But
Yeah.
we encourage them to use those tools more for the like a way to start the conversation, not
Yeah.
just to broadcast the messages. And that is very, very important. And I think things like, live videos or small group chats or even the voice clips could be so incredibly powerful. Like, how
Yeah.
often do I witness a short voice clip from a sponsor, being a decision maker in someone's decision or someone's action? And sometimes it can be from a sponsor they have never
Yeah.
met before in real life.
Yeah.
Those tools can really, really, really be very powerful. And then I've already mentioned about our quarterly events. They are a
Mhm.
must. They are staying. We are selling out the tickets because once people understand the power of those offline events, there is no way back. They love to come to these events. They love to build a new relationship. They love to see their peers. But because they are only once a quarter, it's the online community that is driving the energy in between those quarters. So I think
Yeah.
balancing them, it's super important.
I think it's that using technology, I guess, to complement all of the offline stuff. And like you say, I think it's a really nice way of almost positioning social media because I think sometimes, particularly since COVID, that some people that may have joined the industry during that period when they couldn't get out and do the more traditional side of direct selling and network marketing, that they maybe became too reliant on that being the only method of communication. And I see a lot of people that maybe don't progress as far as they would like to within this industry is because they use social media purely as almost an advertising and a selling tool, not a tool to build that community. So again, I think what you've said nails it on the head of use the communication tools to communicate and amplify what you are doing day to day.
Absolutely, absolutely. And those particularly who started with us in COVID, it took us quite a while to get them to come to their first offline event. And we actually had a little plan on how we're gonna convert those 100% onliners to come into event, almost like bribing them, come and see what it's all about. And it was very hesitant for many to do that step, but it took them one offline event to change the way they're working today. And I love that. I love the way they sort of have grown into the new roles.
Yeah, great. It's excellent to hear that because I saw so many people, and I guess you're aware of other colleagues and through other companies of where actually a lot of companies haven't kind of migrated people there. They did lose them, and it kind of went away. So it's great that you've been able to convert people and actually make them see that there is a better way of doing things. Doing it purely all online isn't necessarily the most effective way for them either. So no, it's great to hear.
Absolutely.
Excellent. So let's now move on to the horizon. So all of the new innovations and ideas that are going to enable the industry to survive for another 100 years in the future. Fingers crossed. So you and I may not be here to see it, but hopefully our legacy will live on through these people. So what would you say from where we are today is the one thing that needs to really radically change to ensure that survival?
I think the industry will live much longer than 100 more years, Stuart. I really believe in our industry. I think it has got such a potential. And I think this question is very important because we need to keep evolving. We need to keep changing as the industry, as the companies, in order to be still there in 100 years or so. So for me, one thing that must evolve is really how we as the companies, how we adapt to what modern consumer and potential direct seller are looking for. And the way people are purchasing products today, the way they engage with products or discover products have completely changed in just a couple of years ago, and that it keeps changing all the time. Let's talk about platforms. TikTok, yeah, everybody is people are still a bit scared of that platform, but as the platform, it's becoming increasingly influential in today's world, yeah. And these platforms are not only shaping purchasing decision, but also what I love about those platforms, they are creating new forms of entrepreneurship. So for us, the question of our industry is not whether we should, not whether these platforms fit neatly into our traditional direct selling model, but how we thoughtfully and responsibly can tap into them. And in Oriflame, we see it completely as a fantastic opportunity, an opportunity to enable our existing community to reach new audience, to grow their business in the new ways, but also to contribute, building to continue to build the brand in today's social world where people are today. And more people are choosing TikTok as a platform. So for us, we need to be there to continue building the brand among the new audience. So, but it has to be done carefully. Absolutely. Any evolution needs to be strengthened, not diluted. It needs to strengthen and not to dilute the value of existing community. So it's really, really very important.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I think like you say, it's going really where your customers are. So not thinking I want my customers to come to where I am comfortable being, but you need to adapt. And I guess that's it's constantly evolving, isn't it? What it might be TikTok today, in a year's time, it may be somewhere completely different.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I just wanted to add that, and it is important that we do it carefully, because it's about the existing beauty entrepreneurs and how we take them on a journey with us. So it's not about just us as a brand, suddenly we're going to go to the new platform and forget what we are doing here. No, not at all. We are on this journey together. So for us, it's really, it's about equipping existing beauty entrepreneurs with the tools, with the skills, but even more importantly, I would say with the confidence and with the mindset on how to embrace those new platforms. So again, ultimately, it's adapting to modern consumer behavior, and it's not about abandoning roots, not at all. It's really about extending them.
How would you say that for some people that might be a little bit intimidated by clicking and going live on TikTok, what programs or training can you give us some specific examples of what you offer to help people become more confident? Because I think for me it's not so much a technical training, it is purely building your personal confidence of I'm brave enough to click this and sit there and watch people come through and throw things at me live.
I completely get it. It can be quite intimidating, especially with these kind of short form videos, or they call them TikTok style videos. Uh, and why it's because it's a different way of communicating. It's a bit different to what we used to, and again, it came so quickly. We for us, Facebook lives were intimidating just a couple of years ago. Or let's talk about Zoom phone call or Zoom calls for 1,000 people. We're like, how could we do that? Now it's so easy, right? So these kind of short form videos will become very natural in just a couple of months. But you're right, we need to take existing community on a journey. And I think the fact here is you're very right, it's not about technical training. A little bit of technical tips usually help, but it's about getting the confidence to go out there and be authentic and talk about what you really, really love. And I keep saying it can be your Oriflame product, which you really love, and show how you apply it. But if you don't feel confident doing that, it maybe can be about showing your lifestyle. Like, for example, get ready with me before my run, or anything that makes you feel confident. Then, of course, we do provide some practical trainings too, to be honest, and everything of how to film a simple content on the phone, and but also to understand what resonates on platform like TikToks. For example, what are the trends? Because the last thing we want is the community, work on some sort of content that is not trendy, and then they will not get the audience or the followers. And the trends on TikTok, I want to say they are changing daily. Uh, at least weekly, at least weekly. So we are doing, as the company, very much. We do lots of trainings on what's trendy right now, how to for you to get more, to confidence by being trendy, by showing the examples that are trendy to the followers today. But one of the most powerful things I want to say is showing examples from within the community. So not experts, but someone to find from their community who's already good at TikTok, for example. And when people see someone like them doing it successfully, it suddenly feels a bit more achievable.
Yeah, yeah, and I guess that same idea flows through to your beauty entrepreneurs finding new people that want to join Oriflame. Again, if they're coming across as authentic and passionate and love what they do, love the products that they're talking about, it's far more likely that you're going to find somebody that thinks, "Oh, I really connect with that person. I want to do what she's doing."
Very much so. But really, for us, definitely, it's also an element of finding new members. But it's not only about attracting new members from this community, it's ensuring that innovation works for those already in the business. So we really tap into that journey through our beauty entrepreneurs. And then, yeah, definitely, if they are, if they are successful and there are people following them, the others will be interested to, how do you do, where would you get this amazing product? So it's a win-win, actually.
You mentioned earlier about making sure that social platforms and kind of the digital tools don't outweigh the more traditional side of entrepreneurship within Oriflame. Do you have specific incentive or recognition programs that do recognize both elements? So maybe people that are growing through social profiles, social platforms, but also those that are using the traditional methods as well.
I think it's super important to have this balance, Stuart, because if we were just to forget all the traditional ways and purely go onto the what works on socials, I
Yeah,
think we would lose quite a lot of people
yeah,
because again, it's just enhancement to what they do. It shouldn't be a
yeah.
replacement, very much so. And our approach is to design incentives that value
Mhm.
both the reach,
Okay.
super important, but also the relationship building. For example, recognition isn't just tied to the viral success, not at
Yeah,
all, but it's about the team building, about the mentoring, about the sustained performance over time.
yeah.
So, one thing that we are more and more as the company are focused is on recognizing the retention.
Okay.
And to get into retention, you need still to find new people, to find new sales. So
Mhm.
to utilize the social channels as the place where you spread the reach or you find new people. But still,
Yeah.
the recognition will happen if you do the follow up work. And that's where retention tap in perfectly into that. So, because in the long run, that's what drives the growth, real growth, not just one viral moment.
I guess it's a sustainability, isn't it? And I think, again, the one word you've used consistently throughout this chat has been about building community. And it's not one thing that I think is really nice if you is you talk about building a community, but ultimately Oriflame needs to make sales. We're here to make money. The your entrepreneurs are probably they want to earn an income from this as well. But I think it's a really nice way of positioning the company of that will flow if you're building this community correctly. You will build a group of people around you, and all of the kind of the financial success will follow as a result of that.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. This is how any trainings that we are creating. It starts with what's community, what's Oriflame community, because it's quite unique for us. I want to say, and how you as the leader will benefit by building a community. Then the social media is just the tool where you find people, but the community building is a completely different element to the business.
Lovely. The last question I wanted to ask you, just on this kind of topic of using digital tools and social media, is a little bit of the element of risk that comes with it. So you lose a little bit of the corporate control, I guess, when you enable people to go out on a platform, potentially talking live in front of potentially a huge global audience, with the risk of they could say something that they shouldn't say. So how do you manage and balance that risk to give people the freedom and the trust that you talked about earlier, but still kind of protecting the corporate brand?
It's true. It's really true. You do give up a bit of control when you empower people to create their own content, but at the same time, authenticity that's the one of the biggest strengths of our beauty entrepreneurs. So we want to preserve that rather than over control it. And at the same time, we provide very clear guidance on and trainings to ensure that the brand values are understood. I think it's about education rather than restriction, and we equip our community with tools, for example, best sharing practices, so they know how to they can express themselves in a way that feels natural but still aligned with our brand. One of the things that we have got really good is the brand oriented training that we encourage all beauty entrepreneurs that are gonna go and sell on TikTok to complete beforehand. So they are at least aware of the basics that are required from them if they're gonna step into that platform. And to be honest, I'm a strong believer that people connect with people, not with perfectly controlled branded images. So for us, it really, we want our beauty entrepreneurs to be themselves. And I want them to speak in their own voice. And I always repeat that it's a journey that we are on together. So we are here to build Oriflame brand. And by building Oriflame brand, we are supporting your business as well. But we only can do that together. So if we are going to step into that platform, we need to step into that together. So we need to respect of each other. We give you a freedom to be as authentic as possibly you can. But please help us to stick to the guidance so we can still protect the brand and have the win-win situation here. So again, I think it's a partnership for us.
Yeah, lovely. And again, it's your passion for it and your trust that you mentioned again right at the very start. It's all really apparent, and I use a similar way of looking upon this, as you mentioned as well, around it's better to educate people than to control them. So again, you could put loads of controls in place, but like you say, you then lose. They just become a mouthpiece for your corporate messaging, and you lose any of that individuality. So yeah, it's really refreshing to hear it.
And you know, so especially in the UK, again, I think
Mm.
here people are such a fantastic entrepreneurs themselves. They know what they're doing, and when you
Yeah,
limit that kind of thing, you lose people, and we have seen it
yeah,
so much. So really, it's about locking arms and let's do it together.
yeah.
That's what works best.
Yeah. Well, amazingly, the time has nearly flown by and we're nearly at the end, which is a shame because I'm really enjoying the conversation. But we just got enough time for the last round, which is a quick fire round. So, a few questions that you don't know in advance to hopefully make us understand a little bit more about you rather than the business side of things. So, first question for you, what's the most used app on your phone at the moment?
Ooh, ChatGPT.
Ah, okay. I think that's probably the same for a lot of people nowadays as well. But how do you use it? How does that kind of integrate into your life?
Very much for the social media. I do use it
Okay.
also for the for the perhaps rewriting some simple messages. So but also like things like, for example, a funny thing, it's a personal thing, but we
Mhm.
are painting our house, so taking a picture
Okay.
of the house, putting some colors in of the paints and say which one would suit better and show me the picture.
Ah,
You can do it, you can use it for anything, to be
yeah,
honest. And there are some
yeah,
various options of this chat gpt, but it's a very good one, absolutely. I
yeah.
think.
Excellent. If you could learn a sixth language, what would it be?
Oh, I love it, love it, love this question. I think for me it would be French. I'm just on the back of the trip to France, and I absolutely hate not understanding what people say.
Yeah. What are we haven't actually mentioned, what are the five languages that you can speak?
Okay, so I speak Ukrainian is my native language. Then I speak Russian, I speak Polish, I speak English, I speak Swedish fluently. But then I also speak some German and some Spanish. But I don't count them as I speak them because it's only, I want to say, quite basic. Maybe, So I would probably, before I would learn French, I would scale up those two.
Wow, wow, excellent. Um, how would you unwind after a really demanding week?
It's a run for me, long distance run.
Oh, okay, okay. Lovely. De-stress and get everything out of your
Do you know
brain.
what? The best ideas come when I'm out there in the woods.
Just that little, I think, when when you're struggling and that everything is just happening around you, and think, I've got to get this done, got to get this done. That 5 minutes of going outside and just being in nature can just reset everything up here, and then the things start flowing a little bit more as they should.
Definitely, definitely.
Um, Are you a meticulous long-term planner, or do you prefer to adapt and kind of work off on the fly with things?
I think in today's environment, it's about adapting and being quite quick with changing things and being okay with that. Oriflame is very good at that. Like throwing you into the ocean of, oh my, are we changing that now again? And I think it's as the leader, you need to be adaptive, and more adaptive you are, you make it easier for your team as well, because you take them on a journey, and this is the world of today's, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And last question, the same question that was asked to everybody, but how would you sum up direct selling in 3 words?
Um, 3 words. I think it will be loving, caring, where we care for each other, and one big family. More than 3 words, is it?
Yeah, everybody does more than 3 words, you're
Okay.
fine. But no, it's lovely. And I think it is the perfect way to sum up your whole approach to this industry and to Oriflame. It's been really interesting and I hope refreshing for people to hear kind of maybe a different side to direct selling that they don't see through some of the other companies out there. It's really clear that Oriflame is like you say, one big family
It
and
really,
hopefully one big happy family.
really is.
Yeah, lovely. Well, thank you very much, Sophia. Now you're a very busy lady now with your new role as well, so I really appreciate you taking the time. And yeah, thank you for all you've contributed today.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you to all of you for listening and watching too. I hope you found the episode insightful and as enjoyable as I did. And remember, we want you to contribute to the conversation as well. So give us your thoughts on what Sophia raised today in our exclusive LinkedIn community. You can find the link within the episode description, where you'll also find links to our TikTok and Instagram profiles. So until next time, keep on honouring your heritage and looking forward to that horizon, and I'll see you next time.